Hello and welcome to the Video Vault. My name is Nick Voll. I'm the television production supervisor for Vancouver Public Schools. You know, one of the proudest moments in our district's history is when one of our own, Dottie Metcalf-Lindenburger, a science teacher at Hudson's Bay High School, blasted off into space as an astronaut. She served on the International Space Station, doing valuable research. It was a long way, literally and figuratively, from her days teaching science at Hudson's Bay. It was also the culmination of a lifelong dream. We profiled Dottie while she was anxiously waiting to find out whether that dream would come true.
And you can find, like for instance, some of the famous constellations, Draco up here in the north and Ursa Minor, which we know as the Little Dipper. And I applied to become an educator astronaut for the major reason that it combines two things that I'm very passionate about, and that's teaching. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I read all of the Laura Ingalls Wilder books when I was in 3rd grade, and my parents were teachers, my grandparents, my aunts, my cousins. So it's something that I have always wanted to be, as a teacher. On the other hand, I became really interested in space at a young age, and I attended Space Academy in 9th grade. I studied science and astronomy in college. So it really does combine two things that I love. Last spring, I built my own telescope. I ground the mirror, and I built everything by hand with a teacher from California, and I've been able to use that with my students. So I have at the bottom, there is a piece of Pyrex glass that I ground, and it is about an 8-inch mirror down there. And so the grinding took about 2 weeks. It's hard physical labor there. And then the only thing I didn't make myself was the secondary mirror up here at the top. The eyepiece comes from a generous donation from Dan Stixrud. I had his daughter in class, and she's been a part of my Science Olympiad. So he donated that to me, but you can also make them out of a binocular piece, and I've done that too. And then this is just the drain trap of a sink and some toilet paper rolls. This is a paper towel roll, and the tube is cement Proform, and then the rest is just plywood, and there's actually a record down at the bottom that allows it to swivel on Teflon and a screw. And so I used an old 70s record down there that I got at a thrift store. And so all really common materials. The most expensive thing, again, was grinding that mirror at the bottom and getting it coated with aluminum. I think that I'm the most passionate about astronomy because it's the unknown. Here on Earth, we get to interact with our environment and we get to experience it, but there's only been a few people that have gone as far as the moon, and no one's gone further than the moon. So it's just that unknown. What's it like out there? And these places seem really intriguing. Venus has always fascinated me because it was always hidden behind clouds, and Mars because it's this red desert that I have worked in here on Earth, in deserts for my geology, and it's like, well, what would it be like in space where there isn't an atmosphere? So it's just that unknown. And then there's so many fascinating objects out there that aren't even within our area of the galaxy. When we start thinking about black holes, and you think about supernovas and neutron stars, all these things are so foreign to us, it's just pretty exciting to think about them. So it would be a great honor if I was selected. And then it would be something that in some ways seems to logically make sense in my life, that when I was in 9th grade, I wrote an essay for Martin Marietta, and I took 2nd place. And 1st place was getting a free trip to Space Academy, and I got, for 2nd place, a t-shirt that said NASA. And so my parents still sent me, and I had a wonderful week learning about space and the training programs that they do with astronauts. And that stuck in the back of my head as something I want to come back and revisit this. I want to work for NASA. Ever since I found out on October 23rd, I have been like on cloud 9. I mean, I dream about it at night. I do think about, oh, if they picked me, this would be so amazing, and what would I do, and what would that look like, and how would that change my life? And I just keep thinking about this would be an amazing experience. I'd get to work with people that I always have questions about space, and then I'd be able to get more of my questions answered, and then I'd get to be working with kids and still keep that contact and feel young that way. And I told my students the day that I found out about this that I think it goes to show you really need to believe in dreams that you've had and that you shouldn't give up on them. Because here I wrote that essay back in 9th grade. So over 13 years have passed to this day. And in 13 years, you could easily give up on your dreams. If you thought that, well, because I didn't even win first place, maybe I'll never get to even see an opportunity like that, you could have easily given up. But instead, it sparked the imagination within me, and my parents' faith in me and them sending me to Space Academy sparked this, this excitement and enthusiasm, and it just let me know that I continue to do the best in whatever I do so that all dreams could eventually become realities. And in this case, I mean, I worked very hard in college and I studied very hard, and I tried to tell that to my students, that you put in all this work and someday it does pay off, and you just need to see those opportunities as the time that it paid off, but never to give up early at a young age, because most of my students are 9th graders. They're sitting at the age I was when I wrote that essay. And to realize that you might not see it as a senior, you might not see it when you graduate from college, but it may come down the road someday, and so seize the opportunity when it does come to you.
Of course, Dottie would be accepted by NASA and would serve in space. And in 2010, she returned home to Hudson's Bay High School to share with students her experiences in space.
It's with great honor, and it's great to welcome our old eagle from space here, Dottie Metcalf-Lindenburger.
I dreamt about being an astronaut when I was young and continued doing math and science all the way through my high school career and on through my college career. And so my big message would be dream big, but then back up your dreams with really good and hard work, and it will pay off.
I have a pennant that I flew with me in space. It's traveled over 15 days in orbit, over 6 million miles, and I'd like it to return it to the Eagles. It's still in its wrap. So that everything is packing really nice and tight. You know, we're limited to weight as we go up into space, and we had a lot of other goods that we needed to take up. But it was important to me that we take something from Hudson's Bay High School, since Hudson's Bay High School had given me so much.
Well, it just feels really special because, of course, there's a lot of good friends and family in this area. So it's really neat to walk down the halls and know that it's changed. There's new people here and people are doing new things, and that should happen in all schools, but to also feel kind of back at home, too. Oh, wow. It's hard to put one ultimate experience down, but I did really enjoy coming across the earth and being able to pick out home places I've lived. So being able to pick out Oregon and Washington, to Colorado where I grew up, and Houston where my family is now. And then I love seeing new things. As a geology major, it was amazing to see mountain chains and to see the Tibetan Plateau and to see where things are rifting apart in Africa, and it's just all incredible. And so looking at the Earth was amazing, and looking at space was equally amazing. When we undocked from the International Space Station, we got a chance to shut down most of our lights on the flight deck and just look at the Milky Way, and it's more colorful than you can see on Earth, so it was really beautiful.
Our patch, which I'm wearing on my arm, and I see some of you guys wearing on shirts out there, it shows the shuttle in its pitch maneuver with the multi-purpose logistics module in the middle, and that's just showing to the world that you are delivering 6 tons of goods to the International Space Station. So we had a lot of stuff we were bringing up. We had science racks, we had crew quarters, we had food, clothing, all these things that are needed on the International Space Station.
I'd like to do a long duration space flight, so that would mean I would live 6 months on the International Space Station. And I think that would just give an opportunity to, again, give back to our country through science And then it would be very rewarding just to kind of set up a pattern of life for 6 months on the International Space Station.
We enjoyed sharing 3 big meals together. Most of the time you're so busy, you just have to have your food velcro to your leg and eat it when you can. But we did have a sushi dinner. This is the first sushi dinner in space.
If I go back to formal teaching, I would hope to go on to become a professor. I really enjoy learning about the Earth, and I'd like to pass that on to maybe grad student level or undergraduate level. So I'd have to go back to school myself to do that. But if I go back to teaching, it'll be in a little bit in the future, maybe 6 to 10 years, somewhere in there.
Now that you've been in space, you see the Earth in a different way.
And I do see the Earth in a different way. You know, I've always tried to take care of it. There's some impacts, of course, that I make with carbon and footprint and everything, but of course, recycling, composting, all sorts of things that we try to do in our family and look at energy use. But when I was up looking down on the Earth and you look at the atmosphere, that atmosphere is really, really thin, and anything that we do to it is obviously going to affect us later. And obviously, while we were up there, the oil spill was happening in the Gulf, and it's continued to grow and grow. And having now lived in Houston is impacting our fisheries, it's impacting whole communities that they don't know what they're going to do. And it's all of our fault, actually, that this happens, because we are all consumers of oil, and we haven't stopped doing it. So it does. It makes me think a lot about our own personal actions and what we need to change so that we can preserve our Earth and make it so my daughter can live in a really beautiful place.
Well, we're just about out of time. Remember though, you can see more Video Vault segments on our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/VanSDTV. Until next time, I'm Nick Voll, and the Video Vault is closed.